Well, hello YouTube, how you doing? I haven't done, well, I did a recent rant video, which was my combination video I decided to do. Me doing a bit of GTA 5 stuff as well, in combination. That was interesting. It let me get some things off my mind anyway, that were on my mind. It's like, ooh, what time is it? That's a good question, actually. I don't know what time it is, because I don't know. It's about 11 AM on a Monday morning, the 8th of December. I slept reasonably well. I was a bit full, though. Ate a bit too much last night, but it's alright. It happens. It does happen. Digestive issues, but I think it was just the fact that I laid down. I didn't lay down straight after I had something to eat, so I mean it wasn't too bad. I had a bit of heartburn when I got up, so I'm not doing okay. Oh, good. I'm not feeling too bad now. A little, but I think my stomach will settle. Could have been a combination of food I had too, so maybe something to do with that, most likely. So what else? What have I been doing lately? I've sort of been doing a combination of, well, I'm going to consist of, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm getting a new processor for my computer. I'm getting a AMD FX 9590, I think it is. I'd actually have to clarify what it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the 9590. Yeah, I'm getting a 9590 anyway, clocked at 5 gigahertz. Just for my extra encoding stuff, and it'll boost my encoding a little more and things like that. I'm going for the maximum processor I can go on my board. And it's also cheap, it's not overly expensive. So okay, in the sense of what other stuff well, what am I doing? I mean, I'm encoding some videos at the moment, as well as encoding some videos. I'm also doing a couple of videos. I've been doing some videos with my girlfriend, because she now has an Xbox. So that at some point she's going to be coming onto the Xbox. I'm going to be doing some stuff with her. I'll also be doing some stuff with some of my online mates as well in combination. Probably most likely Copenhagen, a few other people that I used to play or have played in the past with. I'll be doing some GTA stuff. Just, you know, run around, have some fun, shoot some things, do some stuff like that. I might even have a go at COD. I mean, I'm probably better with COD on the PC than I am on the console. I just don't know. Maybe also. I know my girlfriend is getting COD with her bundle, with the bundle she got. I mean, she got a bundle with like 2 games with it and a nice sized hard drive. So, what else? It's just been basically a combination of that. What else have I been doing? I've been trying to do some stuff with different videos, but at the same time I haven't always been in the mood. My moods have been slightly off, and I've been a little bit, I don't know, I guess you could say lackadaisy, but I've also been a little bit, not anxious, I think it's probably just irritated with some things that are happening to me on YouTube, which is related to some of the stuff that I do with this, or with GTA 5. Specifically because it's annoying, they fuck it up. Or they fuck up. I've turned the music off anyway, so that's not the problem. I've turned the music off in GTA 5 from now on, so I don't have any music playing in the background. This, of course, will eliminate any copyright problems, hopefully, I have in the future with my games. Or when I'm doing, stuff, basically. Which is rather frustrating, because it was getting annoying not being able to monitorize my GTA 5 videos. Which, to be honest, I shouldn't have to fucking turn the music off because I feel it's an integral part of the game. That's just my personal preference, but I don't know. I think it's a bit ridiculous. I have to turn the music off, but I keep on getting flagged for no reason, for just stupid shit, and I'm like, well, okay, fuck off. I mean, look, it's fucking music. I mean, okay, sure, you know, my belief is it's promoting the artist, and at the same time it's promoting the game as well, because the game is part of the game experience. It shits me that I get flagged for it, which, you know, I've eliminated that problem now, but still, it still shits me that I get flagged for it. It's good to listen to some music and just have some fun, you know, so... I don't know, just my vented frustrations on shit like that. I really don't get... I mean, look, it's just the fact that... I hate the fact, initially, that YouTube is very pedantic about copyright, to the point of lunacy. I have nothing against people having legitimate copyright claims, but there are the other side of the fact that sometimes people just make claims because they can. I know this for a fact because there's people out there who will literally troll you, or troll specifically stuff you do, or whatever channel. I don't know, consisting of channels anyway. They'll just, you know, that's how they do it. And I mean, look, it shits me. I don't honestly get it, and it really pisses me off how people are so fucking... just, yeah, no. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense at all, people. Seriously, it's fucking music. It's part of the game. Same as I say to people that, you know, a game is just a game. You have fun with a game. You don't fucking, you know, turn it into a serious situation. You know, some things I can find consistently funny with some people's reactions to things. I'm not denying that, but at the other side of the spectrum, you know, I look at some people and I think, okay, why would you try to traverse such a bad reaction out of somebody in the first place? I think in the past I have probably raged towards different games because, you know, I had trouble beating a character or something like that. I'm not denying I've probably done it once or twice. But some of the things and some of the people I actually see raging to the point of, yeah, okay, it's like, okay, it's a game, have fun, you know. The point of the game is to enjoy the game, and, you know, if you have fun, you're more likely to beat it. I mean, I'm the type of guy, I won't necessarily beat it straight away, but I will take my time with the game and just work my way through it. And once I've worked my way through it, I pretty much, you know, I'm pretty consistent, and I can be pretty good at the game at the end of it, you know, so... I don't know, as I said, I don't try to take things too seriously, if I can help it. At the end of it, you know, I think everybody should have a sense of humour. Regardless of the situation, it's always good to have a sense of humour, a sense of ha-ha. But there are some things that I do not agree with and that are absolutely not funny at all, in the sense of how people are treated or what's given off to a person, alright? I don't think anybody should be bullied or intimidated into a situation. I don't think anybody should feel like they're being singled out in certain situations, because you know, I've had that consistency through my life, and nobody likes that shit. I think, you know, just speaking from personal experience, I don't think anybody likes that crap, so, at the end of it, I'm sorry, that's just sad. I'm sad that there are actually people out there who feel the need to do that stuff. Perhaps they have the consistency of a 12-year-old, but yeah. So anyway, what have I been doing? Well, I haven't been doing much with my channel. I did a few uploads of videos that I want to do. I'm waiting for this processor upgrade to arrive. It won't arrive for, I think, a couple of days now, or maybe tomorrow. Probably, most likely tomorrow. I think it'll arrive tomorrow, most likely, in most cases. I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to arrive tomorrow. Oh, I'm sorry. Digestive fucking things here. Okay, look, the point that I'm trying to make is that, or in the whole consistency of things is I'm trying to keep my channel interesting. At the same time, I'm trying to bring it forward as well. But I don't know. There are some things that I have come to the conclusion that are not as funny as you think they are. And sometimes having the attitude that they are funny is pretty immature in my mind. I don't have a problem with having a laugh at something, and there are certain situations where I consider, it's okay to laugh at something. Later on you'll laugh at it or you'll have a sense of humour about it. But at the same time, I don't think, whether if it's somebody being bullied or somebody being unreasonable about something, that's not a funny situation to laugh about. I mean, okay, sometimes it helps people, but having a little maturity helps so much in these situations. But sadly, there's always going to be some dickhead out there who does think it's funny and who makes, light of it and just wants to put it forward. I'm sorry, that there's just some people that obviously and clearly need to get a life, because, if that's the only consistency they have to their life in the sense that they don't have anything else to focus on in their life in a given situation, that is sad. That you have to take the entertainment and torture of others into accounts to actually get your kick out of entertainment. That's rather sad. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's beside the point. I want to do a few games. I want to actually do a few games, because what I've done is I've directly dedicated one of my cards to PhysX, which was working well. It's giving me higher frame rates. I'm bumping my processor up at the moment, which I'm in the process of getting. Once I get that, I'll put that in, and we'll do a bit of testing and stuff, and just general play through and things like that. I haven't had any... No, lately I've been pretty good with issues. My computer's been running pretty stable. Since I got my new water cooling, I've been great. I've dusted out the computer about a week ago, and things are running on par with what I would expect them to be running for my system and what I've got in there. The only thing what I'm actually doing, I'm getting a lower res monitor to go beside my current, my 4K monitor, because I'm finding that I am getting a bit of video lag. Now, I don't know whether that's necessarily... I think it's related to the fact that I've got two monitors, but what I'm thinking is, if I get a smaller monitor, I'm going to get a 19-inch monitor, which is a slightly lower resolution than 1080p. Once I get something like that, I can still use it as a second screen, because I need a second screen to be able to, spread out a little more on my desktop when I'm doing stuff, chatting, and otherwise doing my multitasking type stuff. I need that extra space, basically. Basically, once I get that, hopefully it won't have to drive the pixels as much, and I may not get as much lag. Now, I mean, yeah, I could probably put the investment and go and get some 970s or 980s or something like that. But to be honest, the truth of the situation is, I invested in the 770s. I want to get the lifespan out of them, and I reckon they've got a fair while to go before they're going to be obsolete. They're not, they're not completely obsolete. Just because the 9 series have been released doesn't mean that they're obsolete, and doesn't mean that they're useless. I have a lot of video cards that I get plenty of life out of, including, in not limited to, older cards, which is like the 8800 series. Even some other series that are coming out too. 8800 series, 250 series, 460 series, 400 series. I mean, all those cards, you can get quite a lot of life out of them given time. Even the 500 series, the 560 series, you can get a lot of life out of those too. That's the thing. I like to every piece of technology in the house, I like to use it to its maximum potential of life expectancy that it's going to have. Now, I expect my 770 is going to be pretty much on par for a while, because there's still a lot of cards being supported. There's still a lot of... I mean, yes, they are phasing out a lot of the really older cards. But I mean, if there's only certain games that you want to play, unless you want to play the latest stuff, which, I'm playing the latest stuff at the moment. The two cards that I've got, which they've both got 4 gig each, so they've got plenty of memory buffer space for future games, and I don't think I'm going to have a problem with them for a long time. if I do happen to see some 970s in a good price range and they're cheap, I might consider picking a couple up. But not at this point, because I think I've made the investment of the 770s and I'm just going to go and stick with those for the moment. I'll probably get some 970s at a later date as a replacement, but that won't be for a while. I'm going to leave these ones on here and just let the... Basically, I have noticed the consistency between drivers maturing in a given situation, and at the other spectrum of it too. If in the meantime newer cards come out that are better for 4K, in the sense that, you know, I've got, I mean, I won't be upgrading my monitor for a while. If stuff comes out that's better for 4K, like drives 4K better, look, I may go for it. I may not. It depends on my budget. It depends on how much money I've got in the bank at the time. If I feel it's worth the investment, I'll do it. But for the moment, my 770s in SLI are driving 4K pretty well. I have not had any consistency problems with 4K. 4K doesn't feel like it's crappy. Only thing I have noticed is a bit of a lag issue between 4K. Just having two monitors seems to be an issue for SLI, and I think that's an SLI related thing, to be honest. So that may get better over time with driver updates and things of that nature. So, you know, look, it's not something that I'm going to fucking gripe about right now. Everything's working. I get good, consistent frame rates. I'm upping my processor at this point. And I mean, it's a gaming PC, but it's also a bit of a... I mean, to be honest, people seem to badmouth AMD processors for multitasking. I've never had a problem multitasking on an AMD machine. I've never had any major consistency problems with the performance on an AMD machine when I've been multitasking. I haven't felt like it's lagged behind or anything like that, and a lot of the stuff I do, especially in coding videos, re-encoding them, cutting them down for YouTube and editing and stuff, I've never had a problem doing any of that on my AMD machine. Now, you know, maybe I would make the investment into Intel, but I mean, to be honest, Intel's just, at the price point it's at, and at the budget I'm at, it's just not feasible, alright? I get the maximum performance out of AMD at the moment, and I don't have any problems with AMD. I don't have any problems with the processor. I don't have any problems with the 8 cores. They're all working very nicely. They all do a very good job. I mean, it doesn't do a shitty job, you know? I don't feel like it's doing a shitty job for me, so... everything that I've done, I mean, including video encoding and including the fact that I want to, you know, record live gameplay sessions like I'm doing right now. I've been doing all that, and I run a hell of a lot of programs on my computer. I have had to take some programs off. I think it was only because a couple of programs were interfering with codexes on my computer. I think it was mostly to do with that. That I had to take a couple of things off, just like one or two players that weren't really useful to me, to be honest. A couple of bits and pieces of software, but most of the time, once you fine-tune the software with an AMD machine, I've never had an issue. And I'm not about to say that AMD is a bad processor. Look, okay, yeah, there's a lot of technology that's coming out that's brand new, and it's, you know, it's paving the way for a lot of the stuff that's coming out. But at the same time, I'll be interested to see what AMD comes up with in the next year or so. Should be interesting to see what market they head into. And I mean, most of the time when AMD has come out with something, they always come out with something pretty creative most of the time. Their APU line, which I've been looking at as well, looks interesting as well. So, look, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? And there's always a path. I mean, there's always some path that can be taken. At the same side of the spectrum, you have to say that, you know, will they find an innovative, creative new way with their processor in the future? You know what I mean? At the other end of it too, they may change sockets. I mean, they've changed sockets for the what is it? They've changed sockets for their processors, mainly their what did they change sockets for? They've changed sockets for their APUs, which looks, I mean, they got the FM1, FM2 sockets. They got AM3, AM3+. Then there's some interesting... I looked at their actual server processors, which use different types of architecture to be like, you know, ahead of the curve in the sense of server stuff. Now, perhaps if some of their server technology could be implemented into their desktop technology, maybe there could be a bit more run-through, you know? I mean, I don't know, that's just a suggestion or, you know, a mindset on that one. But, I mean, I think most of the time you'll find with AMD, not AMD, like Intel, even Intel, they took a lot of their processors from their server lines and turned them into basically desktops, or, you know, I did an offshoot of them, of the desktop processor from the server lines. So, I mean, that's something they could look into, to be honest. It's something I feel definitely AMD could have a future path with, you know. I don't know, as I said, maybe, maybe not. Time will tell, But I don't think AMD are dead in the water, and I think they've got, you know, they've probably got a fair mark to go. I mean, the thing is, they're probably taking their, I mean, you know, they take their time, but look, put it this way, you need a competitor. You need some type of competitor in the market next to the big competitor, because you don't want one big competitor. No, we don't want one big company monopolizing the entire lot, because that just does not help the situation at all. It makes prices higher. It makes things. It's going to make the sense of just competition and just, you know, the consumer pricing points are going to be fucked. So you need at least 2 in the marketplace, maybe 3. I don't know. I mean, there was a few processors being developed years ago. Not as much now. There was an IBM processors which went out of fashion quickly because of the fact that they had too much heat. See, that seems to be an issue at the moment for AMD with with their enthusiast grade parts. It seems to be an issue with the sense of just heat. Heat seems to be an issue. Well, it's not an issue if you have proper cooling. If you have proper cooling, you're fine. If you have shitty cooling, like a basic air cooler, it will not work with the high-end, which I call them enthusiast grade parts, the 9370 and the 9590, which those processors are great. They do produce a lot of heat. So I mean, you do need some good water cooling to be able to run them. Maybe some air conditioning in the house wouldn't help either. It would probably help either. It would probably help as well. But I did have some problems with temperatures for a little while, but not so much now. Now my temperatures have been steady. I'm running a Neptune Cooler Master 280 litre water cooling kits, and I have not had any problems with it. I'm actually quite impressed with how much cooling. Not now. I'm quite impressed with how much cooler it does run things. Now, I mean, it's a double radiator. It's 280 litre, so it's a big motherfucking radiator. But the consistency in these radiators so far, all the Cooler Master, I've even got Cooler Master water pumps, Cooler Master cooling kits on my dad's and my nephew's computer. Now, the irony is that I found that it seems to run a lot cooler. They do. There's a consistency of how cool things run on a Cooler Master water cooling kit. Now, I think it's partly to do with the bracketing system. Look, I don't have anything against the bracketing systems that maybe Antec or Corsair use, but yeah, some of them they're not very secure. They don't feel very secure. They don't have a lot. Yeah, they don't feel very secure. That's the thing about it. And when you feel like you're actually securing it to the processor and it's actually on the processor, it should feel like it's actually gripping to the processor properly. I found with some of the Corsair ones and some of the Corsair and I think Antec. Yes, Antec. I found with Corsair and Antec, in past experience, they grip, but you know, you don't always feel like you're getting the right grip, like you're getting a consistent grip on the processor. And I think that's important. I think when it comes to cooling something, you want the heatsink to be directly on the processor and make sure it makes good contact. I've found in the past that with the Corsair mounting systems, in particular, but yeah, even Antec mounting systems, they don't grip the CPU very well, or they don't sit on top of the CPU as well as I would want them to sit on there. That's just from personal experience of me changing ones out in my computer. I've run an Antec and I've run mostly Corsair water cooling over the years. Consistent number of them. I had a Corsair 110, which, yeah, no, it was okay. You know, I mean, it wasn't terrible. I've had a Corsair 110, that worked, but I think the radio was just a little too thin for my view. I reckon the 280 litre one I got with the Neptune is a lot better. It has a lot more flow in it, and it has bigger motherfucking hoses on it too. That's another thing that I like about the Cooler Master Neptune cooler. It actually, yeah, it does. The hoses on this thing, like the flow between, you know, the flow through the pump is very good. It's extremely nice. I think that's the thing that bothered me the most with I think it was with the 110. The parts were a little small, to be honest, and I felt the parts were a little small with my Antec one too. Basically, what I wanted to do was find something that was actually a good flow. But yeah, I couldn't find anything. But saying that, for like smaller system, like an old quad core for my dad, an old AMD quad core, runs like a charm. Still running to this day, and still running very nicely. I've never had a problem with that. It hasn't died out on me yet. The only thing the only thing I have had to die on me with AMD parts is maybe the motherboard. The motherboards that used to be in my system, I have had a couple of them die, but that's because I've given them a second life in my nephew's and my dad's computer. But I just ended up buying a basic, well, relatively basic board for both of them, which is pretty much the same model of both boards, and yeah, that works like a charm. They haven't had any issues. The only issues they might have had was a little RAM issue, but I think that's just because I was using old RAM that I mismatched at one point. Because when I originally started doing some of this stuff, I wasn't great with matching things up, and sometimes I wouldn't necessarily match everything up to where it should be, and I was attempting to learn what the best matches are. But now I pretty much buy matched RAM kits. Like all my 32 gig of Vengeance RAM is all matched to each other, so it's all the same consistency, it's all the same speed, which is 1866. The original stuff that I had was like 1360. Some of it was 1600 megahertz, and some of it was 1333 megahertz DDR3. Now, mix and matching those two types of RAM doesn't always work well, mainly because of the issues with speed, and sometimes one sticks slowing the other down in combination. But I got my nephew 16 gigabyte worth of the Corsair Vengeance RAM, because he does a relative bit of editing. He does a lot of editing, and does a lot of streaming stuff like I do. I gave him my old AMD FX 8350. That's still going strong in the old board. I know, so not the old board, in the new board I bought him, because I had to buy him a new motherboard. I had to buy basically my dad and my nephew a new motherboard, because the motherboards pretty much had it. But those were older boards, and those were boards that I used consistently myself. So they probably were at the end of their lifespan anyway, at the time. Processors, still in good nick. What do you call it? His processor's fine. His 8350 processor, great. Working like a charm, has been working like a charm. My dad's old 965 processor. It's a AM3, I think. It was an AM3 socket. That was an old 93 Black Edition. It was an old 965 processor, which was clocked at 3.4 gigahertz. It was basically an old... I mean, it's an older quad-core, but, I mean, it still works. It still has most of the consistent technology you need. And, I mean, basically all he was really using it for was just eBay and, you know, things like that, and browsing the web and doing Facebook and things of that nature. So, you know, I mean, it wasn't like it was going to be using it to do intensive 3D gaming. I gave my nephew the AMD FX 8350 because he was doing a lot of gaming, and he does do a lot of different games. I also gave him my old 670, which has received new life for him, in him doing and playing games and things of that nature. That old 670 is a 4GB card, so I reckon it will still be good for years to come anyway, or a fair few years. It's not going to fucking die out quickly. But mine's pretty much... What's mine? Yeah, mine's pretty much... 23... Well, yeah, mine's 9590. I think that's a damn number. I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Look, anyway, it does me for what I need it to do. I do a lot... I mean, the thing is, I do a multiple of different things. I needed a fairly beefy processor, so I went for an enthusiast grade part. Mind you, I always go for the best price. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's the price on a 2 or 3 or 4 terabyte hard drive or whatever. Yeah, you know. But, I mean, my computer's pretty consistent with most things, especially gaming. I've never had any problems with it being consistent about not gaming or being able to game. Or even doing encoding for that matter. Like, coding some of my videos, streaming stuff is excellent. So far I have not had a major issue, up until the point that I had an issue with my Twitch account, which was annoying the fuck out of me, but I fixed the issue with my Twitch account, so now I can do streaming. My only gripe in my entire life at the moment is my internet is a piece of shit, and trying to upload a video larger than a certain parameter can be an absolute pain in the rectum, in the sense of how much time it takes to upload. Not just the time, but the factors of it can bottom out my download and bottom out my connection. It can pretty much kill my connection if I'm not careful. And I'm sorry, that's just fucked. I mean, I shouldn't have to fucking... Yeah, I should be able to upload what the fuck I like. I shouldn't have a limitation on it. I shouldn't have a limitation on the fiber. I mean, I don't know. I shouldn't have a limitation on... I just shouldn't have a limitation. Well, you know, I mean, just in the limitation, like, I mean, it's just stupid. I'm sorry. There's no consistency in... Well, it's just generally internet in Australia. There's no fucking consistency in internet in Australia. When you look at Australia and you look at the internet, the quality of what we have is absolutely fucking atrocious. Which pisses me off to no end. See, I think, I don't know, I mean, it'd just be nice if I could have some consistency. That would be perfect. Okay, what else we got? Oh, suits. Anyway, but, I don't know, that, as I said, be nice to have some consistency. That'd be just the nicest thing in the world. I would be so happy. But, no, it just seems we're stuck in the Stone Age, especially when it comes to our government current, and when it comes to our current state of internet, which is... Anyway, what is the best possible reason for things? I don't know. Sorry, I'm just griping. I guess I'm griping. I'm a little pissed off that some things are consistent and some things aren't quite consistent, you know? I mean, for one factor, I've got a beast of a machine. I've got I've upgraded pretty much everything in the house, you know, in the sense of, like, having reasonably good workbench computer, good computer for my dad, good computer for my nephew, but about the only thing in the entire house that I cannot actually upgrade or have any saying what goes on with it, is the internet. The internet is about the only thing that frustrates me in this entire fucking house. And it's about the only thing that really needs to be fixed properly. Whether it be the fact that they cable it to my fucking door, or, or something like that, I don't know. I just, so yeah. I'm sorry. Just a little food for thought, I guess. For anybody who is in Australia, I'm sorry, it's rather frustrating when you have to deal with ISPs, the fact that you can only do so much. I mean, even if you talk to the ombudsman or something like that. Well, see, I don't know. Look, I don't blame the line technicians. It's not their fault, because they're actually doing what most of the CEOs and the company heads are saying. Like, if the company heads don't want to replace the lines, or they don't want to replace things, or they choose not to replace lines, it's at their discretion, because they're the ones footing the money for the bill, to get it actually up to code. But at the end of it, I don't blame the techs, I blame the CEOs. I blame the CEOs, I blame partly the government, I blame the fact that Telstra got sold off to the NBN, then the NBN doesn't want to fix the lines, and, the NBN... Okay, the NBN doesn't want to fix the lines, the CEOs don't want to fix the lines, or it's either the fact that the CEOs are just being greedy because they want to sell something off for more money than they would expect to get for it in a given situation. In the end of it, I don't have any problems with people making money, but there's a reasonable, justifiable amount of money, then there's like a ludicrous amount that, nobody in their right mind is going to fucking pay. A reasonable mindset of, oh, hold on a second, there's no fucking way I'm paying that fucking much, are you bullshitting me? No, that's my point. Somebody with a reasonable mindset, a logical, smart, intelligent, has done their research and knows how much a particular network is worth. I'm speaking to specific CEOs of specific companies which relate to me, which is mostly IINet, and combinations of grapevine internet. Most of them, I will be honest, they need to take into account that, you're not going to get the amount that you expect. You can still get probably a fuckload of money for it and still have some in the bank, but you're not going to get that massively, massively high dose of money that you expect. Yeah, look, I'm sorry, it's the way it works. It's the way of the world. It's the truth of the world, is that a reasonably minded, intelligent person has done their research and knows how much something is worth at the end. So, just consistency, people. It's just something I feel is personal, personal thing myself a little bit, but fuck, I don't know. I point this out to people, but I don't know, there's plenty of things I point out to people which are perfectly reasonable, intelligent arguments, and nobody will listen to me. I mean, I have my moments where I go a little batshit crazy with some things in my life, and I'm not denying that I can get angry, I'm not denying that I can get pissed off, but I do believe if a few people actually listen to have some of the points that I had about things, if they had some, relative, just, generally listened to what other people, I mean, even your consumers say, yeah, it's all kind of big stuck up in the air special shit, and yeah, it's just the amount of greed, antisocial behaviour in context. Look, I don't know, I'm not a big social person, but at the same time, I ain't fucking completely antisocial. I know how to interact with the human race, I know how to be a good person, I know how to be kind, I know how to be understanding. At the same time, there's just a personal opinion that I have that some people just, there are some people in this world that are not going to get something until you actually beat it into them or smack them over the head with it. Because they're just not going to understand the concept of it. Or perhaps they're just going to believe that they're not doing anything wrong. It's always, they're always right, or they always have a good opinion about something. Look, nobody's right 100% of the time. On a good day, most people, who are pretty right, a good percentage of the time, are only at least right 80% of the time. Alright? Nobody can be 100% perfect, picture down to the nose, absolutely perfect. No, I'm sorry, it's bullshit. That's just the biggest load of horseshit I've ever heard in my life. Nobody can be that perfect, nobody can be that aligned. We all make mistakes. It's human nature, for fuck's sake, people. Seriously. Sorry, and this is going to turn into another fucking rant video. Mainly because I'm just pissed. I'm pissed with the fact that companies... I mean, look, there's no denying... I don't think every company does scummy shit, but there are some companies that do scummy shit. And they do stupid things. And they do things that are against moral, ethical behaviour. And, you know, sometimes I can understand looking after the company, you know, looking after the company in the long term, because you don't want the company to fall apart or go bankrupt. But at the same time, do you really want to be known at the end of it as the person who, you know, sold out so much that, you know, that your company has no honorary customer service anymore? Like, that's my you know, that's the thing I don't get. You know, I think it's ultimately possible for a company to have there we go. I think it's ultimately possible for a company. I figured there was a line behind me because I fucking heard him. No, the thing is, you've got to be consistent. I don't know. Maybe I'm a traditionalist when it comes to business values, but I believe, you know, you help your customers as much as you can. At the same time, there's going to be customers who you just cannot help because they're the most pedantic customers and they have the most pedantic requirements that you just go, oh my god, seriously, how fucking special is this customer in the sense of what they want out of you? I mean, you know, there's customer service. There's a reasonable amount of customer service. Then there's customer service that's just ridiculous. The amount of detail you have to put into it in a given situation. You know, I'm not arguing that it's good to give good customer service. You know, within reason, of course. I mean, I'm not going to fucking, you know, you don't exactly bend over backwards for every single customer, and you don't exactly. Well, okay. You don't go to extreme lengths. You go to the same lengths for every customer, and you always try to help the customer as much as you possibly can. But if you can't help the customer, I'm sorry. As I said, there are some people in life that, you know, you're just not going to be able to help, unfortunately. Some customers just no. I'm sorry. Comes from personal experience of doing work experience with different retail places, and customers just, yeah, some cannot be helped. Some cannot be helped, some cannot be pleased. And then there's people who can be perfectly pleased. You don't have a problem with them. It's the same with companies, I guess, but yeah. Little consistency, inconsistency, I don't know. I'm going insane a little bit, but it's all good. I don't know. I just think we could have a better system here in Australia. The condition of the Telstra lines is an absolute shocker. To be able to run what they expect to run down the copper lines that we currently have, and this is coming from a line technician that I talked to. He pretty much said that it's impossible, especially with the current lines and the current condition they're in, and the fact that the current lines are only really designed to carry voice, not data. It would be almost impossible to get an actual network running at least 25 to 50 megabytes down the copper lines we currently have installed around Australia. And that's coming from a line technician. Now, a line technician has practical experience in the field. Not just practical experience in the field, but he also has practical experience, you know, in his job of how many years he's had to deal with the different problems of whether it be Telstra lines or any other line for that matter, or whether it be the cabling, you know, fibre or whatever. And that's pretty much what he said to me. And you know what? I totally agree with him. I won't mention his name or anything like that, or, well, I don't really know. I don't think I actually asked his name, but I have met him before. My point is that the relevance of it in my mind is that, you know, when he's saying that, that shows that there's something seriously wrong with the system that they're trying to implement at the moment. That seriously shows that there wasn't any consideration taken into it, you see. Because most of the time when it comes to repairs too, most of the repairs to Telstra lines and copper lines in general has been a patch job. It's always been a patch job, people. We have to realise this. I mean, this is something we have to take note of. And I think, as an IT tech myself, I mean, okay, I'm an IT tech. I'm not actually qualified to really say that, well, you know, I'm not actually qualified in the sense of line tech, but I have done a bit of cabling. I did a slight bit of cabling involved in my course. It was a short course, which wasn't really, it covered basics of cabling. Now, at the same time, if I'm talking to somebody who's been on the job with cabling that we have in Australia, whether it be a Telstra technician or otherwise, or any other company that, for that matter, that does line tech stuff, if they're turning around and saying that it's not possible to push that down through those copper wires, then what does that tell you? What does that actually tell Australia? What does that actually tell us? You know, I mean, particularly, I mean, as an IT professional as I am, you know, that tells me there's something going. You know, look, it tells me they didn't think it through. It tells me they never actually thought it through. They never had a consistent thought about what was going on, and they were just trying to make the most cheapest solution possible work for them. Look, I'm sorry. I don't mind having a cheap solution for something, but at the same time, and like in the sense of what... Well, okay, if you look at Australia's debt, which is, you know, half the government's arguments, which is that Australia's in debt. Look, Australia adds up to about 1% of the entire debt in the entire world, alright? Something like that. I'd have to actually probably look it up again, but I mean, if you look at the statistical numbers of it, we're probably only about 1% or 2% or something of that nature. I mean, we're not a very big percentage, and I mean, we're in trouble, but fuck, we're not in that much fucking trouble. I mean, we can afford to actually throw a bit of money around if we choose to. It's just that, you know, look, I hate to say it about the current government, which is the Abbott government, they're consistently putting the point across that, you know, they don't have enough money, or, you know, and look, at the end of it, they won't say it, but it's the truth of the matter. They're lining their own pockets. They may bullshit you around and tell you that it's for the greater good of the country and whatever the fuck they want to say. But my point is that at the end of it, they're just lining their own fucking pockets, and we know it. We know that they're lying through their fucking teeth. Alright? But yet, we still voted them in. Well, I never voted them in personally. I voted in Labour. That's me. I'm a Labour person, but I guess if people want to go vote Liberal, that's your choice. I'm not stopping you from voting Liberal, but I'm sorry. In my opinion, the Liberals only line their own fucking pockets and look after themselves. At the end of it, they're not looking after the people, and I believe people should be looked after. I don't believe... Yeah, look, maybe there's some people in the country who are dickheads who take advantage of the system, whether it be welfare or otherwise. I'm not arguing that. What I'm trying to make a point is there's people who are legitimately on the system, who have legitimate problems, who are legitimately, you know, trying to do the best they can, and because of some dickheads who, you know, some drongos that want to, you know, cause issues for everybody else, you know, fuck with people, like in the sense of just, you know, taking the government's money and running, or, I don't know, spending money. I mean, supposedly it was alcohol or it was gambling. I don't know, look. Yeah, I agree. Don't go out and fucking spend all your money on alcohol before you pay your fucking bills. You're an idiot if you do. Don't go out and spend your money on fucking cigarettes before you pay your fucking bills. You're a cockhead if you fucking... No, look, at the end of it, you're a cockhead if you do that. I mean, you know, whether it be going out and spend on drugs, I don't give a shit what you spend on. My point is, don't go out and spend it on that shit first, before you've actually paid your fucking bills, and be a responsible adult in the first place. Pay a bill. Put the money in for your fucking rent. Pay your fucking rent. You know what I mean? It's not that fucking hard to pay rent. It's not that fucking hard, you know, to pay your rent, and, you know, even to save a bit of money in a consistent level. You know? I don't know. Just, that's just... yeah, this is going to turn into another fucking rant video again. But this is my point. As I said, if you're idiotic enough to go out and spend your money that you get from the government on alcohol and gambling before you pay any type of bill or obligation or take responsibility for a bill, then you're an idiot. I'm sorry, you're a complete idiot. At the end of it, it's better that you pay your bills. You can have the luxury items later, or, you know, the add-on items later. That's not a problem. But my point is, the first thing, and this is the first thing my dad has taught me, you go and pay your fucking bills, you pay your rent, you pay electricity, and you pay everything else you need to pay, right? Before you pay anything else, bills go on the top of the list. Then food comes second. Then, last but not least, your luxury items. Food. So, okay. Bills and food. Those are the two most important things in life. Bills and food. And bills pretty much covers your rent, your electricity, your gas, whatever the fuck you got. Internet, for that matter, if you feel that's an item you need. Right? Which there are people who do have that. Now, at the end of it, I don't think there's anything wrong with paying your bills first. It's good for you. It's not something stupid, you know? It's not... Yeah. As I said, I always pay my bills first. Bills always come at the top of the list. Food comes next. And then at the end of it, if I want to get a bit of alcohol, I do. Alright? Or, you know, a luxury item. A computer part, or you know, a new phone, or something like that, you know. That stuff comes last. You know what I mean? But at the end of it, that's my point. That type of stuff should always come at the last part of the spectrum. You should always pay the bill. You should always pay the bills and those things first, because those are the most important things. And I don't know, if people can't learn that responsibility, I don't think there's a problem with maybe, yeah, I guess the government taking over and, you know, making them pay their bills to a certain extent, or helping them to pay their bills by taking it out of their payments. But if somebody has not got an issue with that, I don't think it should be mandatory for everybody. I think it should be an individual thing and should be on a case-by-case basis of what people do with their money, and, you know, the consistency of how they spend it, things of that nature, you know? At the end of it, it just makes for a better, I don't know, it just makes for a better world if people, you know, do, to a certain extent, follow a certain degree of rules, you know? Bills are bills, people. They have to be paid. They have to be... You have to pay your money. At the end of it, you have to put a priority. You know, you have to make sure things are important to you. Well, you know, just put a priority on those things first. You know. And yeah, at the end, it just makes for a better world if people do prioritise things correctly. I don't know, I mean, look, I don't know, just, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much, YouTube. I've just been driving around here ranting and raving about some of the shit that I'm pissed off about, because, I mean, you know, consistently we're all a bit pissed off at something. Yes, it's always good to get pissed off. Well, it's always good to release anger in some form. I mean, whether it be a logical argument or some type of rant or rave about something. Okay, I'll finish this video. Okay, I'm going to finish this video for now. Thank you very much, YouTube. Stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed this video of me driving around ranting again. I do apologise if I was a little ranty, but I don't know, I'm rantastic lately. Alright, catch you. Thank you, YouTube. Bye. Oh, fuck.